So we're in our discipline series. We're in our discipline series. And yesterday I talked about discipline with decision and choice. So I just want to recap that just for a little bit, just to remind us and myself what I said yesterday. So when we think about decision and choice, right? Decision is the act of or need for making up one's mind. And the origin, I love the origin of words, right? It literally means a cutting off. A decision is a cutting off. And then choice is to select from a number of possibilities of what you want and desire. And I love what Michael Bernard Beckwith says about this. He said, decision is cutting things out of your life, and choice is a state of consciousness you choose regardless of circumstances. And so that's been put to the test for me these last couple of days because it's hot, right? But regardless of the circumstances of the weather and the temperature, I still made the decision and chose to do what I committed to doing because I'm disciplined, because I am disciplined, right? And so let's remember what discipline is: to bring to a state of order and obedience by training and control. And we know the only thing that we can control, Lisa, is what? Ourselves. Ourselves. What we thinking, what we saying, what we're feeling, right? What we're experiencing. Our response to how we interact with each other and the world is the only thing that we have control over. Our response, right? And I shared in a previous sip that our response to how we respond is always the thing for us to look at, to investigate, to lean into. Yes? Oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes. So today, as I was walking, I did like a part walk with myself and a part walk with the group that I walk with. And as I was walking, I was listening to an interview by Seth Godin. And Seth is, you'll know him. He's an entrepreneur. He writes a whole bunch of books. One of his popular books is Purple Cow. Anyway, you know how you know of someone, but you don't realize that you know of them? Because Sekou mentioned him to me before, and I was like, not familiar. But then I saw an interview of him, and I said, oh, yeah, I know this guy. I know this guy. So I was listening to the interview, and he was on Chase Garvin. If you don't know Chase Garvin, he has a really cool podcast with interesting people on it. And so Seth was his guest, and they were talking about a lot of things. But one of the things that captured me in the context of discipline is their conversation about genius. Their conversation about genius. And so this is what Seth said. And Seth was pretty much paraphrasing something that Liz Gilbert has said. You know Liz Gilbert. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love, right? Elizabeth Gilbert. Unless he's talking about another Liz Gilbert. He could be. Anyway, this is what he said. Genius is the voice in our head that is capable of doing something for the first time. It's capable of being generous. It's capable of being original. And our job is to let the genius out. We all have genius. The challenge of letting the genius out is the challenge for us of letting the genius out is that whatever it is might not work. And fear. So Sekou, you could put that back up. This is a quote from Elizabeth Gilbert. She says, keep showing up for your side of the job and give genius a chance to do its part. Right? So we have, to me, that's another way of saying we have everything that we need. So they were having this conversation, Seth and Charles. And Charles was like, there's some people who are genius. And Seth corrected him and said, we're all genius. We all have a genius within us. However, we sometimes don't choose to let the genius out, right? We don't let the genius out, mainly out of fear, that we're going to fail, right? And so failure is nothing, right? Failure is an opportunity to learn, right? Do we get bruised, in the process? Sometimes we do, but we shake it off and we keep it moving, right? So our genius, I got fascinated with this idea because I was one of those people who believe that some people are a genius and some others aren't. But it was a very limiting view about what genius really is, right? The genius, we all have the genius within us because we were made as such. We were made as masterpieces, right? As masterpieces. So we have the opportunity to discipline ourselves in the mastery that we are already. And we get to choose that, right? Remember choice. There's unlimited possibilities, right? And we're selecting the things that we want to focus on and use and be in the world, right? And we're being disciplined about those choices, right? And we're allowing the master within us to lead us, to do its part. I'm so clear right now in my life that I have my part to do. And the genius, the God within me has its part to do. Because some things that happen, I'm like, how did that happen? How in the world did those things come to pass? And it comes to pass because we are opening for that to come through us. But if we're not disciplined, if we don't show up, right? If we don't show up, it could pass right by us. Right by us. Because we're distracted by other things that have nothing to do with what it is that we say that we want. Yes? So, I was asking myself this question today. What am I disciplined in? What am I disciplined in? I'm quite disciplined in my spiritual practice. I'm becoming disciplined in getting up and moving. But I realized that the most important thing that I'm disciplined in is how I treat myself. I love me. I love me. I am disciplined about loving myself, about treating myself well, about being kind to myself, about being gentle to myself, about whispering sweet everythings to myself. Disciplined in that. It's a muscle that I have built over the years. And I think that's one of the most powerful disciplines that we can have, our relationship with ourselves, because we have total control over that. No one has control over how we relate to ourselves. So how are you disciplined in your relationship with yourself? I had to cut out a whole bunch of stuff. And I talk about her all the time, right? In my subconscious mind. I peel it back. Oh, let me get to that. Let me address that limiting belief. Let me address the story that I'm telling because something didn't go the way that I thought it would go. Let me address what I'm making that mean about me. So I'm disciplined about addressing the issues that come up as I go through my process, right? When I fail at something, I go through the discipline of getting clear with myself that I tried something, it didn't work out. I am not a failure. What I did didn't work out. So I'm not going to beat up myself about it. I'm not going to beat up myself about it. So what is your discipline? When we're in school, right? That when I first went to college, everybody wanted to know, right? Oh, what's your major? What are you majoring in? What are you majoring in, right? And if you didn't know, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to your whole life, right? So it's the same thing. What are you disciplined in? What is your major? What is your major in your life right now? What are you studying? What are you interested in? Right? It's all the things that we've been talking about since April 6, 2020, y'all. Right? It's all one thing. It's all one thing. And so we just keep adding to it. We keep adding to it. So ask yourself, what am I disciplined in? And you know by what you spend your time and attention on throughout the day. Some of us are disciplined in watching 24-hour news. Okay. Is that in alignment with your genius? If it is, wonderful. If it isn't, then you have a decision to make. What is it that I need to cut out? And then make that choice out of the hundreds and hundreds and thousands and millions of possibilities that are available to us, right? But we have to focus, tune in, right? Tune in, fine tune it. Discipline helps us to do that. Yes? So the other piece of discipline I shared, I think on Monday, is the origins of that word is disciple, right? So what are you following? Are you following your genius? Or are you following the latest thing out there that's happening that someone said works? So what are you following? Are you following your intuition? Are you following your wisdom? Are you following that which knows all that there is to know about you and is having a conversation with you every day? Are you listening? These are the questions that I ask myself, right? Because things come up and things will come up, right? And so it's always an opportunity for us to look at how we are relating to those things and how we are relating to ourselves, how we are relating to the genius within us that we are already. Yes? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So I shared yesterday, be disciplined in your decision to make a conscious choice about living a life as a disciple of what? You fill in the blank. What are you following? As a disciple of my genius is how I would answer that question today. So that's the invitation, y'all. That's the invitation. Look at what you are disciplined in. If you don't like it, cut it out. Make the decision to cut it out. Literally, cut it out. And then make choices that are in alignment with that which you seek to be disciplined in. And then every day, as a practice, build your relationship with the genius within you. a healthy, loving relationship with yourself. All right, y'all. So that's what we got today. We're going to continue with the discipline series tomorrow, and we'll see what comes forth. I'm going to have a bedtime intention with my genius tonight and see what surfaces in the morning. How about we all do that? Let's set a bedtime intention with our genius tonight to just bring forth some information for us. That's it. Genius, what would you like for me to know? And see what comes in the morning. Okay. All right, y'all. So we're living life in joy, connected to our yes, y'all. So let's bring up Sekou real quick and see what's going on.
But thank you to those of you who participated in the challenge. As Rev Mel said, it doesn't have to end today. Like, my commitment to myself was to run. I'm gonna use the new language. It was to run at least a mile every single day for the month of June. I did that this month. I'm proud of myself. I ended my month at the same place I began it. I began on June 1st by running a hiking trail. And today I ran that same hiking trail. And there's a whole story there that hopefully you heard earlier today, but if not, I'll tell it again tomorrow. So anyway, I think that's it. Please support the movement, the hero ministry, as Rev Mel calls it. And I'm going to put her back in because she doesn't know what her cue is since she can't hear me. So I'm going to put her back in. Please tune in to the Hero Show every day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to hear me talk about the hero ministry and everything else. All right, later.
It's so weird because when I unplug my mic, I can hear you, but when I plug it in, I can't hear you. It's weird. All right, y'all. So there's the update. Please tune in to the Hero Show. Is that what the Hero Show tomorrow, 10 a.m. to hear more about what's happening and what has happened. Oh, Julian, it's so good to see you here. So thank y'all all for being with me live today. Apologies for yesterday. I understand the full show is up. So if you missed it or you dropped off because we were having technical difficulties, please go back and watch yesterday's show. I delve more into the whole decision and choice conversation. And I'll see y'all tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Please contribute, make donations to New Thought Media Network. You can do so at their website, ntmedia.org, so that they can continue to expand the positivity that they are spreading across the internet, right? It's wonderful. It's wonderful. So shout out to Rev Robert and his whole team for doing what they do. So peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and justice. We're living life in joy, connected to our yes.